Okay, so this is the review for test one, and we will start. So it is intended to simulate test conditions. It means that each candidate is about 100 minutes for the time the test you start the test. From the time you start the test, sorry. Okay. You will not be able to check your answer until after the test is completed and submitted. You must complete the test in one sitting. It's meant to simulate test conditions. Okay, so let's start. We won't do all, but we'll do some of the questions today. Okay, your deposit of $67,236, which would be what? Well, that would be a present value, correct? Yes. And in an account earning 6% compound interest for 7 years. Find a future value and the interest earned for each of the following compounding frequencies. Round all answers to 2 decimal places where applicable or applicable. Enter positive values for the interest earned. Okay, and for this question, 1 year is 365 days, including leap years. Okay, so for quarterly, we know that PY and CY would be 4. They're equal and it would be 4. We skip over n, we use the calculator to do that. And we need to get the future value and the interest earned. All right, so let's go in here. We know how to get to PY and CY. We go second IY and the number is 4. There already, but we can enter it 4 and enter. Right? Yes, the PY and CY there, both the same. All right, we can quit that way. And then how many years? Well, it's for 7 years, so we go 7, and if we go second, and n would be 28. All right, we have to enter the interest, which is 6%. So there we go, 6 for IY. Present value will be this number, the deposit, 67236. That's present value. Payment we know is 0 because it's the compound interest, and then we'd like to get the future value, which means we have to compute the future value. And that is what the future value is. Now, you can enter negative or you could enter a positive number. It doesn't really matter. So if you like, you can put in the entry as it is there, 102,011.95, 2 decimal places. All right, the interest earned, what we do is we take this future value, we click on plus minus, we make it positive, and then we subtract this present value right here. So that would be minus 67236. That would give us the answer, $34,775.95. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is monthly. So if it's monthly, then CY would equal CY, which would be equal to 12. Okay, so we go back and we'll put the PY equals CY is equal to 12. So 12, enter for PY, and that would be the same value for CY. Now we can quit by clicking on this button at the bottom there. It gets rid of the menu. And if we want to get rid of the number, we can also click again, and there it goes. All right, now the number of years is 7. Okay, but this number has changed. The PY, CY number has changed. So that is the reason why N would also change, and N becomes 84, which is 7 years up here times this 12 here, and that's giving us this 84 there. Now the interest rate will remain the same. We can enter it at 6% right here, or we could go and recall IY, and there it is, 6%. Now the present value will also be the same, 67236. If you recall the present value, there it is. As well, the payment is still 0. So we can recall the payment, there it is 0. And now we have to compute the future value. Why? Because n has changed. So now we get 1. We can put the negative if we wish, or in this case, let's just leave it out. See how the computer marks it. So 102, and 1 looks a bit so faded. Okay, 102.57. It seems as though the 7 is getting not showing very well. Okay, so it's about the spacing, the size of the box. Anyway, but the answer is in there properly. If we scroll across there, we see it appears properly. Okay, so what is the interest? So we can make this future value positive. We click plus minus, and then we subtract the present value. So we can go and recall the present value if we wish, and we subtract, and then we get the answer of 34,987.58. Okay, now if the compounding, it's the compounding, right? There's nothing that says just as compounding frequencies, and these are the frequencies. Quarterly, so PY equals CY is equal to 4. Monthly, CY is equal to CY is equal to 12, and annually, PY is equal to CY, and it's equal to 1. Okay, so let's go now and go back into the PY and put in 1, enter. And that's the same value for CY, and we get out of there. And it's same 7 years, so we put the 7 in there. Sorry, it goes 7, second, N. So N would work out to be 7. Now all things remain the same. The interest rate, the present value, the payment. So the only thing that will change is when we compute the future value. But we can check to make sure that the interest is still 6, the 6% right there. The present value, let's recall the present value. It is this number, 67236. Okay, and the payment, we can recall the payment and it should be 0. So let's compute the future value and we get a number, and that number is 101,098.08. And like we did before, we could make it positive and then subtract the present value, which is 67236, or we could just go minus and then recall the present value, and we put the number in there, and the number is 33862.08. Okay, we submit, we check the answer, and the answer is correct. All right, very good. That worked out very nicely, but it's a nice review about compound interest. Okay, and you don't have as many boxes as you did in the first question of quiz 1, because now you've come through with all of that, and you should be able to fill in the boxes properly and compute the correct answer. That's the more important part of it. All right, now this number 2 here, an investment initial deposit of $9,719. So this now, we do have the usual table or boxes we fill in. So there we are for the present value. All right, now it's growing at an interest rate of 3.57. So there is the interest rate. I suggest that you copy and paste and do it properly though, just get the numbers. And this one is compounded quarterly. So because PY equals CY would be equal to 4. Okay, the payment is 0 because these are not periodic payments. It's just one deposit. And then we would like to find the accumulated amount, which would be the future value. So that is what we need to compute right there, the future value. Okay, let's do this part first. So we go second IY, and the PY should be 4. So 4, and we enter it. And CY is also 4, so we don't need to do much. It's there. We get out of there, and then it's for how long? End of 2 years, right? End of 2 years. So 2 second n. So n turned out to be 8, right? Interest rate is 3.57, so 3.57 interest rate. And what else? The present value is 9,719. So 9,719 present value, 0 for payment because there are no periodic payments. It's just one deposit, an initial deposit. And then we compute the future value, and that is the answer we get. 10,435.00. All right, okay. Now at the end of the 2 years, right down here, the interest rate changes to 5.12 compounded monthly. Calculate the accumulated amount in this investment at the end of 8 years from the initial deposit. Okay, so if it's 8 years from the initial deposit and 2 years have gone by, then this second part would be 8 minus 2, this 8 here. Okay, 8 from the initial deposit, so this 8 years, we subtract this 2 years here, and that would leave us with 6 years. All right, so let's go. The interest rate has changed and it's compounded monthly, so let's go back in there and see what is the value for PY, and PY is 4, so we have to change it to 12 because it's monthly. And that is the value for CY also. So we come out of there, and it's for how long? Well, end of 8 years. Now, end of 8 years from the initial deposit. So we have to take that 8 and we have to subtract 2 because 2 years have already passed. So 8 minus 2 would give us 6. That is the number of years we use to calculate n. So 6 times 12 would give us 72 here. And CY and CY, they're 12 because it's compounded monthly. And the interest rate is now 5.12. Okay, so we can copy that and we can paste it in there, 5.12. And we can enter it now on the calculator, 5.12. And that is IY. Okay, now present value is what? Well, it'll be this future value right here. It'll become the present value for this part here. Okay, and the payment is still 0 because there are no periodic payments. It's just that the money is moving. And so the money is still there. It's just sitting there and no more is deposited. It's just earning interest, or you can say growing. All right, so 1,0,435 goes in for the present value. 0 for the payment, and then we compute the future value. And that is what the future value gives, 14178.29, right? Okay, find the total amount of interest accumulated during the entire 8 years of the investment. So 8 years of the investment, the money is now $14,178.29. Now, what did we start with? Well, we started with $9,719. So we can make this future value positive, correct? And we can subtract 9,719. And the answer is $4,459.29. The total interest is $4,459.29. All right, now there we are. We got everything correct. So this is the question. It's compound interest, but there was a change of the interest rate and the compounding frequency. All right, and initially it was 3.57% compounded quarterly. All right, and now it is 5.12 compounded monthly. Okay, so there we are. All right, I think that is good enough for now. Let me go back and just point out one thing, and that was that the future value could be positive or negative as seen here and here. Okay. Now, also, you can see when the frequency of compounding is lower, the future value would be lower. And so will be the interest earned. When it's monthly, okay, quarterly, it's a little bit more for the future value, 102,011, okay, and $34,775.95 for the interest earned. But when it's compounded monthly, you see they get the highest future value, $102,223.57. And the interest earned, of course, would be the highest for these three, $34,987.58. Okay, so that was question number 1. And then this was question number 2. So we will continue next time.